Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and I just got back from the new film Lone Survivor. It's based on the true story of the failed U.S. Navy SEALs mission Operation Red Wings during the war in Afghanistan, and there's about 4 SEAL teammates who were asked to capture and kill a Taliban leader. Things turn out for the worse as they try to fight their way through this mountainside to get out. And I guess you can tell by the title pretty much what happens. Lone Survivor is directed by Peter Berg, who I think is most known for being the executive producer of Friday Night Lights, really, and creator of the Friday Night Lights TV show, and he directed the feature film. This film is strong in a lot of ways. Certainly the actual fight sequences are incredibly strong, very emotional and very scary and very thrilling and very intense. The action sequences in this film have a real depth to them, have a real meaning to them. You really feel that you're going through something with these characters. And any doubts I had about the film before that sequence are just kind of erased because I'm so wrapped up into this battle sequence where these 4 guys against this big Taliban army. An amazing sequence, and it actually even gets better as it goes on. It feels like Peter Berg almost got better at directing the sequence. It's a very gut-wrenching sequence, and it's so good it makes you think almost that the movie's a lot better than it was before and after that sequence, really. Peter Berg, like in Friday Night Lights, he likes showing the common man and how they're just like everyday guys, and he loves having them do like, military speak, talking about Navy SEAL traditions and code names for things and how the guys really like the first Anchorman movie and things like that. I think Peter Berg is too in love with the working man, especially the military. I mean, he did this also in Battleship, oddly enough, where he has a lot of respect for the military, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it really kind of hinders what he's trying to do in Lone Survivor because he's almost like too in awe of them to let them be real characters at certain points. Like, he's not treating them as characters. Like, he wants that sequence to be perfect and very well executed, and he does a very good job at the sequence that really counts in this film. If that sequence didn't work, the whole film wouldn't work. But you can't have a film based on one sequence. There has to be more leading up to it. The most troubling part of this film is 2 things that literally bookend the film. I know people said it kind of bookends the film. No, this literally bookends the film. There's a sequence at the very beginning and there's a sequence at the very end, and this is not giving anything away. First off is the opening, which the opening shows what these Navy SEALs go through as they're training to become Navy SEAls. But instead of showing the 4 characters who were in the fight, who are Mark Wahlberg, Taylor Kitsch, Ben Foster, and Emile Hirsch, which would make a lot of narrative sense if you saw them going through the training, but they don't do that. What they're doing is they're showing video of these other guys who you never meet again, you never see again. I don't really know who they are going through this Navy SEAL training. I kind of get to show the bond that Navy SEAls have, but wouldn't that have worked better with a few characters rather than kind of showing us that in the broad sense? I feel like he was trying to make up for something narratively that wasn't really there with that opening sequence, but it didn't really work, And I almost wonder if he took out both the opening and the ending, would the film be a lot stronger? And I kind of think it would. Now, the end sequence just shows pictures of all the men who died during Operation Red Wings, which is fine. In this, they basically show a PowerPoint presentation. It does have a little video, so maybe it's kind of a keynote or an upgraded PowerPoint. It kind of made me reconsider liking the movie. Not because, suddenly this was real or anything like that. It felt realer in the movie if they had credits going on during that, but I just feel like acting like that's part of the film. It's like, I understand you want to honor these guys, and that's perfectly fine, but I think it would have honored them more if I had a real connection to the characters in Lone Survivor, who are based obviously on real people, rather than focus on the real people with this weird PowerPoint thing. He's too invested in the sacrifice that these guys made and not thinking about this film as a film. All the acting is great. I think Mark Wahlberg, he rarely gets to do things that aren't movie star roles anymore. I mean, this is still very much, you can tell he's the movie star of the piece, basically. Remember when Mark Wahlberg started, he would be more known for being not just a movie star, but a pretty good actor. Not too showy, at the same time, he feels very vulnerable. He feels more human. He almost feels more relatable than I've seen him. I didn't really think of him as much as Mark Wahlberg. In certain places I did. And Taylor Kitsch, maybe not as good as he was as Riggins in Friday Night Lights, but it's probably the best screen performance I've seen from him thus far. He has not had a very good career on the big screen, unfortunately, because he was so good at Riggins and Friday Night Lights. But this kind of gives you at least a taste of that. Shows like why people considered him to be a star or an actor on the big screen. Emile Hirsch is kind of like almost the baby of the group, like the younger runt almost, I'd say. I haven't really seen a war film have this strong of acting from four guys. Almost like a core Western group in a little bit of a way. It doesn't have the nuances that Western does. That's kind of the feel of it, like four guys going off into this mission, and you really get to know those four guys like an old studio epic. Ben Foster, who I really loved in this film, he kind of reminded me of a lot of guys I saw in World War II films, and he just had that essential element of a serviceman to him, but also had stoicism about him. He just very much just felt like a normal guy there who had been through everything. He's probably one of the strongest character actors working today. He's like one of those guys who you can tell is playing off everybody, but also doing his own thing at the same time. Like, it's a lot going on in his performance, and you can totally not see it at all. But it's there, and it definitely helps with their group chemistry. One of the problems I had with the character development also was that they developed this rookie early on in the film who really has no reason to have been developed as much as he was. Certainly maybe a little bit, but I really just honestly would have preferred more with the guys. I mean, they'd all have their little things that you're supposed to have in a group kind of action film or a war film where you learn just little things about their personalities, but I just wish they had just developed that more and stronger. The thing about Peter Berg in this film, like, sure, he understands what ultimately counts, what you're ultimately seeing the film for. You're seeing this amazing battle sequence that's just awe-inspiring and very good. Peter Berg was almost the perfect person to direct this because he was the person who was most interested in this. He's too in love with it, and that just holds it back from being like a real war film with a lot of impact other than an amazing sequence. And in the battle sequence even, he does kind of these action movie things where they're falling down a hill and he kind of like makes it quick cutting and cool for no reason. And they fall down a lot of hills in this movie, so I understand like he wanted to make it look different so we didn't get bored. Like, not really what the film needed. It almost felt inappropriate when you're trying to like really capture them and like so-called like tell this story and tell like what these guys are really like punching it up like that I thought was just a little too much and like almost over directing. Peter Berg always feels like a very strong personality, but not the kind of strong personality that knows how to wrangle his personality to make a good movie. When you look at the great directors, they do have strong personalities, but they know how to use that to make the film and ultimately make a masterpiece. You just can't be too in awe of what you're making the film about, and that's Peter Berg's problem. He managed to escape it while he was making that sequence, and he understood that sequence had to count, but he really needed to understand how to do this. This could have been done in a lean, economical way. Even the book that this film is based on, Lone Survivor, is really about like his whole military career, the guy that Mark Wahlberg plays. And he chose to do this because it would make a better film. That's showing how he was economical as a storyteller. And I think what he needed to do with Lone Survivor is be far more economical and just be concerned with these four guys at the beginning and will have us follow them. It just kind of falters under kind of questionable decision making and just like overreaching patriotism for the Navy SEALs. The Navy SEALs are amazing, it's just Peter Berg's direction isn't. So if you have seen Lone Survivor and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to.